millions are escaping the heat. But as India's plains sizzle, the mountains are facing a different kind of a crisis altogether. From Manali to Mussoorie, from Shimla to Nainital, from Joshimath to the Char Dham routes, roads are packed. Traffic is stretching for kilometers, and destinations built for tranquility are witnessing unprecedented crowds. Let's put up those visuals for you to see. And these aren't isolated images from one town or from one particular state. What you're seeing is a pattern emerging across India's hill regions. Long vehicle queues, packed parking lots, crawling traffic, sometimes even stationary, and lakhs of tourists and pilgrims arriving in destinations that were never designed to handle this scale of movement. The first question is that are India's hills becoming victims of their own success? And why we're asking that is because there's another side to the story. Tourism is the economic backbone of many mountain communities. Hotels, taxis, restaurants, guides, shopkeepers, homestays, the entire local economy depends on the visitor and their footfall. Which is why this conversation cannot be about stopping tourism. It has to be about managing it rather. And that's where News9's special campaign, Heal the Hills, comes in. A campaign that asks whether development and conservation can coexist, whether destinations are approaching their carrying capacity scientifically, and whether the race to welcome more visitors is placing unsustainable pressure on our fragile ecosystems. Because whilst footfall is rising, so are the concerns. Concerns about traffic congestion, concerns about waste management, concerns about water availability, and concerns about whether infrastructure is keeping pace with the sheer volume of the visitors. And nowhere is this debate more visible than on the pilgrimage routes. The Char Dham Yatra is witnessing massive numbers. Authorities are managing daily congestion, roads are under pressure, and safety concerns continue to grow as the number of devotees surge. But before we open up this debate, let's also quickly hear from the tourists, the locals, and the people that are really experiencing this rush firsthand. We've got several of those tourist ground reports. Take a look at this one for starters.
भाई नैनीताल में जाम चेक करो, आज 31 मई टाइम हो रहा है 3 बजे का, बारिश भी हो रही है और जाम खतरनाक लगा हुआ। अगर आप भी आ रहे हो अपने साधन के साथ तो भाई पहले से प्रिपेयर होके आना। जाम चेक करो भाई कितना लंबा लग रहा है, बहुत आगे तक जाम लगा हुआ है, देखो चेक करो भाई।
लोग आज है 1 जून और रात के बज रहे हैं 1:30 और ये है हाल मनाली चंडीगढ़ हाईवे का। फुल ऑन जाम लगा हुआ है भाई, आधा घंटा हो गया हमें यहाँ वेट करते हुए। ज़बरदस्त भाई, जो भी इधर आ रहा है 1-2 दिन में प्लानिंग करके आओ यार, बहुत ट्रैफिक हो रही है, बहुत लोग आए पड़े हैं। टू मच, 2 आवर्स। रात को 1:30 बजे ये हाल है, तो दिन में क्या हाल होगा आप देख सकते हो।
Long traffic snarls, and whilst the images are alarming, experts are clear that the answer isn't to shut the doors on tourism. The answer is smarter tourism. How do you manage tourism? Many policy experts are advocating scientific carrying capacity assessments for hill destinations, better visitor management, stronger waste infrastructure, and regulated construction in these eco-sensitive zones. Of course, greener mobility solutions that can reduce congestion without hurting the local economies. And the larger idea is simple: protect the ecology without sacrificing the livelihoods. Because if tourism is the lifeline of the hills, sustainability may well be their future. And that's why this debate is not black and white. Tourism creates jobs, supports local businesses, it generates revenue and keeps local economies alive. But when growth outpaces planning, the costs begin to show up in traffic, in waste, in water shortages, and environmental degradation. The challenge is finding the right balance. So tonight, we're asking, are India's hill stations exceeding their carrying capacity? Should there be limits on visitors and vehicles in ecologically sensitive destinations? Can sustainable tourism models protect both livelihoods and landscapes? And most importantly, how do we grow tourism without really damaging the very mountains and the people that come to experience those mountains? Let's bring in our guest tonight. Pradeep Sangwan, founder, Healing Himalayas, with us on the broadcast. Many thanks for taking out the time. Mr. Joseph Hoover, environmentalist, with us on the broadcast as well. Subhash Goyal, Chairman, Travel and Tourism Committee, Indian Chamber of Commerce, with us on the broadcast. Many thanks. And Sunil Dhaya, founder and lead analyst, Enviro Catalyst, with us on the broadcast. Mr. Sangwan, you know, the question is quite simple. How do you balance this? How do you draw the line and how do you balance this? Because shutting out the doors to tourism is really not the answer. But then I think we're loving our hills too much. We're suffocating them. How do we balance this? We're seeing record footfalls across hill stations and the pilgrimage routes. At what point does tourism cross the ecological carrying capacity of a mountain ecosystem? And what are the solutions to those key gaping loopholes?
Well, see, this is not just tourism now; it is also climate refuge. So most of the people who are coming to the mountains, they are refugees in the mountains. I'm just coming back from Kedarnath. I was there for last 5 days, and we've been trying to do a lot of waste management around these Char Dham Yatra. Last year, we thought that the number of people who visited Kedarnath was 17 lakhs, and this year, yesterday itself, in 40 days, the number has crossed 10 lakhs. It is an official data that we have. So we were prepared to manage 17 lakh people coming in and their waste, but now in 140 days, we just witnessed 10 lakh visitors, and it's crazy for us to manage that kind of waste. Because every day Char Dham Yatra, not Char Dham Yatra, but Kedarnath just generates about 4 to 5 tons of solid waste, which is beyond the capacity that we have right now. And we talk a lot about carrying capacity. We have done a lot of research. Multiple IITs have done the carrying capacity research, but at the same time, we are not using those research. Nobody's implementing those findings that we take out from those carrying capacity research that has been done. So it's very, very difficult. Every road has been chalked for last couple of weeks as summers the temperature reaches 40 plus in the plain areas. Most of the mountains face this. Yes, it's very good for the tourism, but we need to create that balance and we need to create those policies. In fact, those policies are there in the place, but we need people who can implement those policies on the ground. We need to create that ecosystem. And we've been doing that for last 10 years, but it's not enough. We need more people on the ground.
You see, you spoke about waste management. How do we fix that particular problem? That's a mammoth amount of waste that you just spoke about, and that's happening on an everyday basis. Mr. Sangwan, how do we fix that particular problem?
See, I'll give you one example. So I just said that 40 days, 10 lakh visitors, and roughly in Kedarnath now we're reaching a point wherein I can say that we have generated about 400 tons of waste in just 40 days. And that's true. So nobody's prepared for that. But at the same time, there are multiple, materials that are being used every year. People keep introducing one thing or the other. In our facility, we already collected 15 tons of material, in which 50% is required. We buy raincoats while going to the yatra, and we dump it on the way. We buy so much of prasad samagri, we dump it on the way. I saw that there's new invention that has happened, and it's one of the most weird inventions that you have to cover your shoes with a rubber that is being sold and everybody is buying it. So out of 10 lakh visitors, 5 lakh buy them, then the amount of waste which is being, and for the same, what we have introduced is carry me back, whatever you are taking, get it back to the base hill, a base area, from 250 grams to 5 kg, if your capacity allows, carry that back. And we just, a couple of days back introduced this, and it is getting tremendous amount of response. But at the same time, we need to minimize waste at the foothill. We cannot allow material to reach at a certain altitude, because the kind of carbon footprint it will create to just collect, segregate, compress, and then bring it back to the base, and then finally sending it to recycling. It's an whole ecosystem, and there's always a viability gap in terms of its finance and sustainability. So we need to figure out ways that how do we control this mammoth amount of waste which is reaching at certain altitude at the foothill. That should be the focus area. Yes, people are getting, the numbers are increasing by the year. From last year to this year, it has increased significantly, and I'm assuming it will increase next year as well. So overall, we have to, see the larger aspect
You're
of what we are
absolutely
trying
right,
to
Mr.
achieve.
Sangwan. And it's not just, the hills and the tourist heavy spots where footfall is actually high. It's also up there on the Everest camps. Look at the amount of graveyard for the, oxygen, tanks, for the tents that are still there, for all the equipment. It's a graveyard of that mountaineering equipment up there. We're not even leaving. Look at some of these pictures as well. We're, helping the viewers understand. This is the final camp before the Everest summit. We've not even left the tallest mountain peak. I mean, that's exactly who we are. Mr. Hoover, what's your assessment here? We earlier spoke about the AC blasts. We spoke about how the blistering heat was leading to people buying more air conditioners and then the impact on climate change. Now, just like Mr. Sangwan was telling us, there is a lot of refuge that's taking place. To escape the heat, people are running to the hills. And how? The local community says that it's great for them, but even they're getting choked, let alone the roads. So locals often say tourism is keeping their economy alive, but environmentalists like yourself, they're warning that the hills are under stress. Look at the subsidence that happened in Joshimath, and yet again, the numbers that Mr. Sangwan just told us, the official figures, in the first 40 days, about 10 lakh people visiting, the Kedarnath. Are we prioritizing short-term revenue over the long-term sustainability, which, needless to say, is going to come back to us, biting us in the back?
I mean, I completely agree with what Sangwan says, and it's worrisome. If this continues, this trend continues, I think we are in bigger trouble. I mean, this is absolute madness. When we talk about the economy of the hill station people, yes, they need the revenue to sustain themselves.
Yeah.
But they themselves are getting choked. So in one way, the locals are looking for business, so the tourists come in. But at the same time, when you have chock-a-block, when you have such snarls, no movement at all, so what happens to their economy? It falls. It's falling. It's not just happening in the Himalayas. It's happening everywhere else, even in southern India.
Yeah, we know reports about Kodaikanal as well. I mean, that's a different case study.
No, in fact, I should say something, because there's a huge campaign going in the Kodagu region, the Western Ghats, where people say we are just 5 lakh people out here, local population. There are 60 lakh visitors coming each year, and we cannot sustain that. They're saying, please go back. We don't want. I think eventually this is what should happen even in the Himalayas, because this is a fragile ecosystem. We cannot be messing around with it anymore. This Char Dham road itself, we challenged it in court, but somehow the court allowed it to happen. We said it's going to be very destructive, and now we are feeling it. We also know what kind of landslides, the number of landslides we have had.
Yeah.
People have died, properties have been damaged, everything is gone. The ecosystem is itself plundered. And we continue to do it. Where is this? The greed can't take us. You don't chase God in the hills. God is everywhere. And people don't have to look for vacation in the hills. They got a lot of other places. They need to be more, as we need carrying capacity, ecological carrying capacity, and that has to be maintained. If the government can't do that, then this is going to be the state of affair for the next few years as well. And it can, as Sangwan says, it can get worse. So we are worried. We're actually worried. The impact on the local people is going to be immense. Maybe they're not feeling right now.
One of the most worrisome aspect is that you see all this entire traffic snarl. Some of these snarls are in the landslide prone zones. So you're essentially sitting ducks for any of those, landslides to actually occur and take those cars with them. But there's another side to this, which is where the balancing act comes in. Mr. Goyal, we need your inputs on this particular point. Chairman, Travel and Tourism Committee, Indian Chamber of Commerce. You see, environmentalists are arguing that hill stations are being loved to death. But there are many hoteliers, the entire hotel association that is dependent on tourism. So do you believe that that concern is being exaggerated, or given these visuals, given the current situation, it's actually justified?
We are killing the geese that can lay golden eggs. You see, it is very, very unfortunate. As rightly mentioned, it's a very fragile, our hills are very fragile, and landslides are increasing. There is, I was there in Siliguri, and I wanted to go to, just a few days back at the All India Tourist Guides Convention, being their patron. From there, I wanted to go to Darjeeling. I came to know that there's a 6-hour waiting for cars to reach Darjeeling. So we went to another spot, midway. There's a Taj Hotel between the, tea plantations. We enjoyed that stay. So 3 things are there. One is carrying capacity. Yes, if there are studies, we must, through TV channel like yours, talk about those studies and question the Chief Minister and the people in the states, the tourism authorities and the local deputy commissioners, that why this is not being implemented. Secondly, like I was just seeing on your channel, the Shimla road. Now, in Chandigarh itself, we must stop these cars, and we should only have, slots let us 100 cars at 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Then 100 cars come out. Then we have another 100 cars. And otherwise, we have to refuse, maybe go next year, right? Unless and until we control
But sir,
we regulate.
Mr. Goel, what do we do about the capital's reflex? Even today, at this point in time, there are going to be 10 hoteliers that will come on record and say it's okay, we doesn't bother us the traffic snarls, let the people come in. I want my business to flourish.
No.
What do you say to them?
No, you see, the hoteliers have also started realizing. I'm telling you, even from this place, when I was going towards this, there was a traffic jam and an ambulance could not move.
Yeah.
You see, the local people are suffering. That ambulance could have a hotelier inside, could have a businessman inside, could have a teacher inside, right? And they have to reach the hospitals. Now, you see, secondly, all these hill stations were made during the time of the British. Last 75, 80 years, we've not done anything to build new hill stations. You see, if they are making another, we are using the same roads. So we have to have parallel roads or roads leading to other destinations. And unless and until we regulate the traffic, unless and until we control this, I think our hills are dying, and it's going to be a big disaster.
So you're essentially saying we must diversify these crowds to other hidden gems. But then those people
diversify the crowd.
Those people who like to, take those treks, who like to get on those hiking trails, they're going to be sitting with their fingers crossed, hoping that this normal mainstream crowd does not get access to it or does not find out that, hidden gem in some of those places. Like I was seeing a lot of people now traveling to Sisu. Not a lot of people travel to there back in the day, but now Instagram Reels has highlighted that the homestays are the new big in thing. And hey, Airbnb is available in all of these hidden, deep down secret places. That's how much, entrenched the capitalist reflex here is. Mr. Dhaya is with us. He's been patiently waiting, founder and lead analyst, Enviro Catalyst, with us on the broadcast. We often hear, Mr. Dhaya, that, the carrying capacity, that's one angle. I think everybody spoke about it. Mr. Sangwan, Mr. Hoover, Mr. Goel also spoke about it. How should states scientifically determine how many vehicles and visitors a destination can sustainably handle? Is managing vehicle the first step in healing our hills, which is also, by the way, the special campaign that we're running on News9. And thank you to all of you for taking out the time and joining us here. It's important that your credible voices reach out to the mainstream public. Mr. Dhaya.
Thank you, Kabir, for having me. I would disagree a little bit with Mr. Goel in terms of that we need more wider roads, newer roads, and parallel roads. Yes, parallel roads, better infrastructure to some places is needed. But what we have done in last 10 years is we have widened the roads. We have made 1 lane, 2 lane roads into 6 lane, 4 lane highways. And that while we were doing that, what we didn't do really was we planned it. We intentionally, as governments, not just the state governments, as central governments, planned this for motorists, for cars, for the automobile industry. And we failed in providing the public buses, public transport infrastructure on those roads. And that is exactly what is resulting into the visuals which we are seeing. Look at these visuals. You don't see a public bus on those roads. You just see cars.
Pertinent point.
Just imagine. So the component of carrying capacity study is one, how are people reaching to these hill stations? And second is, what are they doing once they reach the hill stations? The problem which we are seeing right now on the screen is how are they reaching? So that can be definitely resolved in a very faster time, very less time horizon. If we provide buses, not just from Chandigarh to Shimla or not from Dehradun to Mussoorie, but building this new highway from Delhi to Dehradun, what will it do? It will promote a lot of people who own the car to go to Mussoorie, and then they will end up in this kind of traffic jam. Now, one thing which we can do is we can provide constant bus services from Delhi to Dehradun and even to Mussoorie, so that 50 people rather than 4 people move in that vehicle. So that will do a lot of wonders, not just for the hill stations, but for the larger economy, for the government. The other thing which happens, which Mr. Thangwan and everyone on the panel has highlighted, that once they reach these hill stations, the carrying capacities which were done, and they said that we can only handle maybe 2 tons, 4 tons of waste every day. Now that quantum of that waste has gone up. And that is a bigger problem, which will not just be resolved by resolving the visuals which we see on
Yeah,
the screen.
yeah.
And for that, we need to come up with better mechanisms of
Better
changing the
government
materials which
intervention
are
as well, better waste
government,
management infrastructure. That's
not
the
just
need of the
waste
hour.
management, even water infrastructure,
Yeah.
even the solid waste or municipal waste management infrastructure. And that can also be done very well if there are buses going there, because you'll have control over the people who are going there. You can give them better awareness. You can give them those plastic bags which they can bring back their waste in.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
once
yeah.
we develop public infrastructure, it can be better managed. We lack that
Okay,
public
okay.
infrastructure, and because of that, carrying capacity studies are not being followed.
All right, all right. So we need better awareness. But then again, you see, be it a civic apathy, be it a criminal negligence by, the civil authorities, we only take action, once the tragedy has already struck. We only get active once the problem has already taken place. And, on a lighter note, Mr. Sangwan, are you inside a car and does that car happen to be stuck in one of those snarls?
Yeah, I was stuck for last few days because I was in Kedarnath and we just opened our facility. And
Okay.
we are proud and said at the same time that we built the, India's highest situated material recovery facility at Kedarnath at the altitude of 11,755
Kudos to you on that, sir.
feet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Mr. Sangwan, you see, you're somebody who works on the policy front. Not that it just looks good on paper. You're somebody who's executing it as well and doing God's work. You're the great Samaritan people are, citing in all of those newspaper articles. But countries across the world, are there some learning lessons for us here back at home? They're experimenting with visitor caps. They're talking about green taxes. I mean, you have to pay a green tax. A normal example would be if you're entering Mussoorie, they take a green tax. But there is no limit on how many cars can really enter once the winter line is up there for everybody to see. So are we talking about visitor caps, green taxes, permit systems? What models do you believe India should now seriously consider, and we can push and force the government to act on them?
see, one of the most interesting things that I am trying to, sort of work out is deposit refund scheme. Every material that you buy, you deposit certain money to a shopkeeper, and that comes from the top, from the producer side itself. And recently, I went to Europe, one of the countries wherein we went for plastic recycling show, and I bought something, and then they charged me ₹2 extra, and then I had to, if I deposit that bottle back, then they will repay me. So something similar we need to explore, and it will hurt everybody, whether they are the producers, importers, brand owners.
Yeah, yeah.
They will streamline their material. We'll know the exact amount of material which is being sent into a particular state, and then in the end, one of the most important, member of the supply chain is the consumer. They are the most irresponsible across the supply chain, and they've been using and throwing everything, whatever comes across. So if they deposit ₹5 per plastic bottle, they get it back to the shop or the nearest, reverse vending machine. I think that can be one of the solutions we need to explore. Goa has started doing this. Maybe Himachal pretty soon. We are seeing some good results from the government side, and they're pretty much in the, they're taking this option up. And Goa might start the implementation of the same policy by the first week of August. So this is one of the things that India can and should explore, wherein everybody in the supply chain becomes responsible. So I think this is one way.
Absolutely.
There are multiple other ways. We need to strengthen our infrastructure. In recent times, in last 6 months, what I've seen is that Clean the Hill initiative, which has been started by Mahua, wherein I've been part of it, and all the 13 Himalayan states. They have been given a task that every state will come out with 5 such track routes, wherein they maintain end-to-end solutions, whether it's solid waste management, whether it's how to engage the local youth or the self-help groups, how to create revenue through green tax or and then use that money, that green tax money, for the betterment of the environment. We should not never. This is the case across the country, that we charge a lot of money in the name of green tax, but that money is never being used for the
You're
greenery.
absolutely right. Corrupt instincts. And, you go across to all of these Western countries, you go to the Scandinavian countries, they really respect and love their nature. We can't look beyond our own selves, and that's the primary problem, essentially. We as a species, and we as, really don't want to, backstab my own countrymen here, but we really don't look beyond our own self. We don't look beyond what we really need here. Mr. Hoover, let's look at this objectively. If the governments were to implement just 3 or 2 immediate measures before the next tourist season, what would be your recommendations here, sir?
Yeah, I was listening to Sangwan and Daya. There are a few points that I would love to stress.
Yeah,
Talking about regulation, you look at Hootakam, Nilgiris, that's in
yeah,
Tamil Nadu.
yeah.
They, any vehicle has to pass through Hooty, they need to have a permit.
Yep.
They
yep.
don't allow more than that number of cars because the people out there locally, they said we cannot take this capacity. They're destroying us. So they stop tourism.
Yeah.
So you have to have a permit to
Look
get
at
in. So you
Munnar,
have
look
to
at
apply for
Wayanad,
it.
look at the southern infrastructure when it comes to public transports as well. It's so well coordinated. You don't need to hire a car or a taxi or a scooty in one of those, like the coastal areas that we see.
Okay, again, coming to the green tax part of it, the Tamil Nadu, if you're entering Hooty, you can't carry any plastic with you, not even a chips packet, not even a drinking bottle water. They just remove it from your car. They yank it out. So that's one aspect which is happening. This is what the government should be doing, even in the Uttarakhand or Himachal or wherever it is. And also, as Daya was saying, there is a regulation in Bandipur Tiger Reserve where the pilgrimage people go up to a temple up there in the hills, where the government now stops the vehicle at a certain point and allows them to take a bus. So you have to park your cars or your jeeps at one point, and they provide a bus. So only that many people can go, and there's a restriction on the time as well.
Yeah.
So that is being maintained, and that's been very successful. As Sangwan and they were saying, I would say the Hooty, especially the Nilgiris template is excellent. You need to have a permit to come there. And once that permit level is over, I mean, the number of cars of people coming, carrying capacity is over, they say, sorry, no more vehicles going through. And they don't allow plastic. I think this is something that everybody should contribute. And the worst
Enforcement
part
has
is,
to be stricter.
as Sangwan is saying, we pay green tax. Even Bandipur, if we travel through Bandipur, we pay a 20 rupees green tax. But it empowers the people, those so-called species, intelligent species that we are. It empowers us to throw all the trash on the inside the forest. You pay 20 rupees, right? So you have the right to throw your trash inside the wildlife reserve. This is the attitude people have. We need to change.
Like I said in the beginning, when we haven't spared the highest camp in Everest right before the summit, I mean, what will these forests, really stand for? I mean, I remember going to Triund back in the day when that trek was really active, and the amount of garbage people are able to accumulate, it's amazing. It's appalling to see. And Mr. Sangwan has given us some of those numbers as well. Mr. Goyal, look at the environmentalists on the panel. And I really don't want to divide the panel. I think all of you have made a simple point that we really need to look deep within ourselves and fix the problem, because we essentially ourselves are the problem. We need to stop loving our health so bad, we need to let it breathe. We're suffocating them. Mr. Goyal, if stricter visitor caps, the green taxes, everything that's been pointed out is actually introduced and implemented, do you think the local businesses would sort of repel? Wouldn't local businesses, taxi operators or the hoteliers be the first to suffer or come out onto the streets, say, why are you choking our economies? Why are you choking our livelihoods?
I don't think so. Taxi drivers are, stuck. They've charged someone an amount of fare from one point to another point, and which they should have completed in 2 hours. They're stuck in the traffic for 6 hours.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're losing money.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, I would, I strongly support the other panelists that we have to regulate the number of people, as is being done, as said in some of the places in South India and Kerala. But at the same time, you see, we must make public health, hygiene, and environment compulsory subjects in our schools. Because the succeeding generation, we have lived our life, we have played our inning. Now we have to leave this planet, these mountains. We have 74% of the Himalayan mountains in the world, and we have to leave them for the succeeding generation.
Yeah.
If we don't do it now, it's now or never. Then we are destroying, as I started off by saying, that we are destroying, killing the geese that can lay golden eggs.
Yeah.
Look at Switzerland. Switzerland has more tourists than visit India. But do you see any area crowded? There are high taxes, there are regulations. And they have started those tourist trains. You see, fortunately, there is a train that goes, in Darjeeling. So we were stuck in the traffic. So we took the toy train, and we were able to go up to a point and come back in the toy train.
Yeah.
But you need reservations well in advance.
You need
So,
awareness that there is a toy train available. I mean, how
Yeah.
far and long will your Range Rover really go?
yeah, yeah. So secondly, we should extend these trains. They are nice glass, just like copy Switzerland, copy some of these hill stations.
Yeah.
I believe from Dehradun to Mussoorie, there's going to be a cable car.
That's
That
right.
would congest some of the roads. But we have to be innovative. We have to think out of the box. And as rightly said Mr. Dahiya, we need to recycle our waste. And we need to have, I fully support this idea. And there is no other choice.
There is no other choice. I think that's the
there's
operative
no
part.
other
I'm
choice.
completely running out of time here, Mr. Goyal. I need to give the final 30, 40 seconds to Mr. Dahiya as well. Mr. Dahiya, we've covered it all. We really need to think outside the box. Enforcement has to be stricter, and we really now need to pull up our socks and be scared for what we're doing to the climate. If we're not scared, we're not going to budge. What's your final message to everybody that's watching this special program, our campaign, Heal the Hills? Mr. Dahiya.
Oh, definitely. The advisory which you guys, new channels have been giving, that don't go to the hills right now. So that's the first thing. The other thing which we might have missed out on is that why are these people going to these hill stations? Because the urban infrastructure is heating them up. There is no place to picnic. There is no place to spend with family and friends. We need to create those spaces so that some people stays where they are and they don't go to the hills. And once we have done that, the other thing which we need to do is we don't need a 4-lane
Lodi Road,
highway to
the Lodi Gardens is absolutely a picturesque place for a picnic. It's just that it's not in the trends anymore, sir. It doesn't get you those Instagram likes. That's why people don't want to go there.
It might get it. It's just that you are putting these water sprinklers or humidifiers everywhere on the roads. Put them in Lodi Garden, make it slightly cooler, have more trees there. People will come there. They still feel heat. So that's the one thing. And the other thing is we don't need the roads to keep expanding. We need to restrict the lanes, and we need to provide public infrastructure, public buses there. And once people reach the hills, we need them to infrastructure to walk there and not use vehicles on those roads. And if we are able to do implement those 3 solutions at different levels, I think we can solve it.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
More
Let's hope that good sense prevails and it's a better tourist season next time around. I don't think this is going anywhere soon. I think the biggest advisory that we can give from this platform right now is that the heels can do the healing for themselves. Let them be at peace. Don't choke them up. Let them be a little bit at peace. But then again, like Mr. Sangwan said, and Mr. Hoover has been specifying, and Mr. Goyal has been giving us the numbers, Mr. Dahiya with his statistical, anatomy and knowledge, we don't really give them a chance, and it's easier said than done. The hills sustain millions of livelihoods, but they also sustain rivers, forests, the fragile ecosystems, and the challenge is not choosing between tourism and conservation. The challenge is ensuring that one doesn't destroy the other. Mr. Hoover, Mr. Sangwan, Mr. Goyal, Mr. Dahiya, many thanks for taking out the time and speaking to us here on our special campaign, Heal the Hills.